As Lee pointed out, you always begin from an outcome. What's the thing you're trying to do? But how do you translate an outcome into capacity? Our next speaker can help us there. Martin Creighan is the Managing Director of Australia and New Zealand for AT&T. It's not a common name in Australia, but they are the largest mobile carrier in America. I just looked it up. Their market cap is around $300 billion, which makes them one of the largest companies in the world. So let's find out what that means in the Antipodes. Please welcome Martin.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. It's funny that Mark said that we're probably not known or that known in this part of the world. It's something that we get all the time. So we'll just clear that up. AT&T has actually been in Australia and New Zealand since 1992. So we have been here for a long time. And when we go talk to our customers and clients, I like to refer to us as the best kept secret in Australia and New Zealand. I know it doesn't sound like I have much experience here, but I have actually also been here for 20 years. And in that 20 years, we've actually built quite a significant business. So AT&T locally on the ground, we have more than 400 people, and we service more than 200 enterprise customers that are doing business globally. But what I want to share with you today is a little bit about bringing these IoT concepts to reality. So Eitan told us yesterday that Everything IoT's mission is all about connecting the physical and digital worlds. And he wants to do that through partnerships and collaboration with corporations and startups. And we're seeing it happen. So what I wanted to talk to you about today was really the basics. And the first basic is when. When should we do this? We should do it right now. We heard Lee talk about it, all the speakers. We had forums yesterday, we had hackathons. We're seeing that we need to do it right now. If we don't do it right now, then you're going to get disrupted, and we've heard a lot about that. The second piece of the basics is the what. Yesterday, Dr. Bell talked about data. She even mentioned differentiated data. And what does that data mean? When we think about data, we take a look at what does it mean to get an outcome. We heard Lee just talk about that. You need an outcome. Amazon is starting with the question of what am I solving for and working their way backwards because they're looking at an outcome. But if you're looking at the outcome, what is the outcome doing? The outcome is actually providing an experience. And most importantly, a life experience. If IoT did not have an impact on all of us sitting in this room and all of our customers, then why are we doing it? It's all about experience. So the what. If I equate the what to our body, our brain is the central processing system. And then we have arms and legs and limbs that actually hang off of the brain. And those limbs and arms and legs, etc., are connected. And in order for the body to work, and in order for the body to function, it needs oxygen. Well, in order for your IoT project to work, or in order for you not to get disrupted, you need data. And data is the oxygen of the enterprise. So that's the what. What are we doing it for? We're doing it for data. Why are we doing it? For life experiences. So what I thought I would do is share with you today 3 examples of how we're actually bettering life experiences. The first one is with a premium wine brand here in Australia, New Zealand. We started work with them over 2 years ago on a concept that we're calling from the grape to the glass. And I know all of you, like me, we really like that concept, especially the part when it's in the glass. So through this process, we took a look at their entire value chain. And we looked at how can we connect the entire ecosystem or the entire value chain of their organization. Why? To get data. Why do we need the data? Because it's the oxygen of their business. It's what powers them to create a differentiated customer experience. The first place that we actually took a look was we took a look at the vineyards themselves. How can we put sensors in the soil? How can we determine when there was the best time to harvest those grapes? How can we actually make sure that the fertilization, the soil temperament, etc., was exactly where it needed to be? We want to make sure we are growing and harvesting the best grapes that we could possibly harvest. The second piece is the maturing and the bottling. We automated this as well. in regards to levels of the bottle as the wine's going, and it's a fully automated system. And through that, we're gaining efficiencies on how many bottles we could bottle per day, and then how long has that wine been matured? What is the actual quality of that wine? So all of this is now automated with sensors, and we're getting that data to make these decisions. The third piece was warehousing. So where in the warehouse is the wine? How can I actually get it to move? The whole point of a vineyard or a winery operating is to actually make that product and get that product out to the particular market. So warehousing, and with wine, warehousing is very important. You have to actually have it, once again, at the right temperature, the right humidity, cool rooms, and so on. So we connected the entire warehouse to make sure that we're getting all the data to make decisions that we needed to make. The third part was logistics and transportation. This particular premium wine brand has some really high-end bottles of wine that cost a lot of money. And we also found that there were other wineries and vineyards who are trying to rip off their product, who are trying to replicate it. So not only did we actually have to find out and be able to track it and transport it around the world, but we also had to make sure that it was tamper-proof and nobody was stealing our product as well. So that is something that we actually started connecting. From a logistics point of view of on-time delivery, making sure that we're getting the efficiencies that we need as we deliver that product around the world. Then there, of course, is delivery and stocking out to all the wine distribution and retailers. Very important. Once again, where is that wine? How much is on the shelves? How much stock do they have? Do they need more? If we automate that process, then we're going to make sure that they always have the right amount of product at the right time to be able to get the most out of our sales and revenue. And then finally, we actually wanted to take a look at the purchase experience. So improving that point of sale experience. And this is really where this particular company wanted to improve the relationship with the customer and the experience of them not only drinking their product, but buying their product. How often, when, and why. And in this particular example, when we actually started working with them, we worked on a separate application with low-energy Bluetooth wine labels, and we helped them build a mobile app so that when you walk into the store, you can actually wave your mobile phone over the top of that low-energy Bluetooth label, and you can get a history on that wine. Where it was grown, when it was harvested, when it was bottled, when it left the shop, everything that you want to know about that wine. Once again, the reason or the why, because we are differentiating the customer experience and we are providing a better life experience for all of our customers. But if I take this and I take a look at another point of view. So over the last couple of days, we've heard a lot about drones. And I have to be honest, when I first started hearing about drones, it kind of made me a little bit nervous. And the reason why it's actually made me nervous is because the FAA is predicting that there will be more than 1.6 million drones in commercial airspace by 2021. That's crazy. I mean, Amazon, I know, is really looking into this technology and how they can use drones for drone-based delivery. It's going to change our lives. So once again, using drones is going to change our life experience, and that's why this is so important. If you take a look at AT&T and what we're using drones for, we kicked off a trial program back in 2016 on how we could actually use drones to actually provide drone-based network connectivity. We did this for many reasons, but the primary reason was how can we get connectivity into hard-to-get-to areas, or in the case of what we've seen over the last couple of months, we've been ravaged by hurricanes and natural disasters all around the world. So how can we get connectivity to those areas in a really rapid period of time and make sure that those affected can communicate effectively? We finished our trials in the beginning part of this year in 2017. And what we did on this particular drone that you see here is we used over 130 patents that we've actually issued, along with 20 years of research to come up with the right HD video capability on this drone. The reason why we wanted the HD video capability is so anywhere that drone flies, we can actually get the quality that we need in regards to taking a look at what's out there. In addition to this, with this particular drone that you see, this drone is providing network connectivity. And what you might see here is you might see that this drone has a tether built into it. The reason why we put a tether on this drone is we connected that tether to a generator on the back of a truck. If the drone is connected to a generator, I can fly it all day. So if I'm connected in an area where I need to fly that drone for a long period of time, I'm not reliant on battery power. I can fly that drone all day, and I can get network connectivity where I need that connectivity. Now, here in Australia, one of our biggest industries is the mining industry. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of these mines, but if you ever get out to like the Pilbara, you will see how massive these structures are. And one of the biggest challenges that the mining industry is facing today is connectivity across the mine site. And what they used to do is they used to roll out, they used to call them cell towers or cells on wheels. They used to basically roll out these trucks with the equivalent of a 4G LTE cell tower in the back of the truck. And they called them cows. Well, now we still have a cow, but we have a cell tower on wings. Or, if you want to look at it a different way, a flying cow. People don't really like to be called flying cows, though. So the technology is amazing. We can fly it all day, and we can get benefit out of putting these things into really hard to get to places, as well as natural disasters. Now, the other thing that we're actually doing with these drones is we're actually seeing a dramatic increase in health and safety. And the reason why is we have over 65,000 cell towers that we have to inspect on a regular basis. And for AT&T, that meant in the past that we used to have to send humans to go inspect those cell towers. But with the video-based technology that we developed, along with the drone capability, we now can do those cell tower inspections and get the HD video that we need to provide safety. We are seeing a 30% increase in productivity in regards to how many drones we can inspect throughout the year. And we have seen more than a 50% decline in occupational health and safety hazards. So it's been a massive contribution to our own business. So imagine that, trying to go out and inspect 65,000 cell towers on a regular basis. The other thing that this drone-based capability gave us is by using these cameras, we got a better look at cracks, wires that needed to be taken down, what needed to be fixed, instead of trying to put, once again, a person up there to look at all angles of that cell tower. These cell towers are normally actually anywhere from 100 to 120 meters above the ground. And what we're also able to do is we're also able to fly these drones, and we're also able to detect or check the actual the signal itself, the strength of the signal, to make sure that the signal is working and we're getting that. And once again, without having to put a person there to do that. So it's really, really important. Drones are really changing the way that we actually do business. The final thing that we actually are doing with these drones, and we've just done it with Hurricane Irma and Harvey in the United States, is there was many flooded areas that we couldn't get trucks and people into. And in order for us to get our cell towers and our cell capability back up, or our mobile capability back up, we needed to get new wires or new cabling and whatnot to some of these cell towers. And we might have had somebody manning that cell tower, but they couldn't get in via vehicles. We were flying cables and parts, etc., with drones to those cell towers. We actually did that with over 130 drones. We're flying over 130 drones over the last 2 months in hurricane-affected areas to make sure that we can get repairs done, as well as make sure that we actually had connectivity. So drones are really changing the way that we do business. Once again, the human element being, I'm now protecting the person. It's that life experience. But if we want to talk about real life experiences, this is where we really start to get excited. And to me, this is where the real benefit of IoT comes in. I want to introduce you to Eric. Eric Manstrom is a blind athlete. Eric has run over 17 marathons. Eric is also an Ironman. And Eric is blind. Eric has a disease called retinitis pigmentosa. It took me like 5 days to figure out how to say that. Retinitis pigmentosa. He developed this disease at the age of 5. And what it really means is that Eric's vision is limited, as he describes it, to looking through the straw, or looking through a straw, And at the end of that straw is a piece of wax paper. That's all you can see. For a blind athlete, that is extremely challenging. Eric has run the Boston Marathon 8 times. This April, Eric reimagined what that experience was going to be like. The reason why Eric reimagined that is because AT&T worked with a fantastic startup company in La Jolla, California called Aira. Aira developed smart glasses. And the way that Aira described their smart glasses is it's equivalent to OnStar in the car. So AT&T do a lot of connected cars as well. And some of you may not know, but GM's connected car system is called OnStar. And in GM's connected car system, or OnStar, you can get a personal pilot that can come on board and instruct you how to do things in the car. It's connected. It happens here as well. My Lexus has it. It's actually quite good. So Aira is the equivalent of OnStar for vision. And what these smart glasses do is, through a smartphone application and network connectivity provided through AT&T, connect to a call center where the person using the smart glasses can speak and hear somebody who basically is their eyes. And in April this year, Eric was able to run the Boston Marathon for the first time, and he described it as one of the most enjoyable experiences of his life, because the way he described it was the first time he saw what he was doing. He saw that through the vision of someone else who was actually sitting in a call center and looking at a dashboard directing him where to go. And as they were directing him, they were telling him things like runners on the right, people throwing their cups when they take drinks off the table. When runners tend to run, they tend to start congregating in certain areas, and they start cutting people off. They don't even realize it, but they're running sideways. And our call center, or Aira's call center staff, were able to actually alert Eric every time this was happening. In addition to alerting him of what was happening around him and making him feel more comfortable in a race, this technology gave him the ability to see what was happening as the call center staff were describing to him the trees and the flowers and what was happening to transport the people and so on as he was running the race. At the end of the race, Eric said, it was the first time I felt the marathon. That is the power of IoT. That is why we're doing this. So at the beginning, I talked about when. We want to do it now. I talked about what. The what is the data. We need the data. Eric needed that data, or he wouldn't have been able to run the race. In the customer example of the Great Glass, the what was that life experience, giving a better experience to the customer, giving them more knowledge, more information, making that customer journey much more pleasurable. And here, a real life experience on how technology is changing the way we go about life. So how? How do we do this? At AT&T, as you can see, we're helping businesses transform. And not only in America, we're helping businesses here in Australia transform and working on many, many, many IoT projects. As you can see from the very top, our core is all about the connectivity. How do we connect you? We have a global SIM. That global SIM works in over 220 countries around the world. So how can we connect you? Some of the largest IoT deals that we have, and we have over 30 million connected devices today, and some of the larger IoT deals that we're working on and have worked on are not only about one particular geography or one particular place, but how can I connect globally? And that's where we come in. The second tier there is really important, and I think really important for this audience. I talked about when is now. You heard Lee talk about a lot of people struggle on how do I go about doing it? Well, we're trying to help you with that. We're helping with developer toolkits. We have a flow designer tool that helps you start to put together the basis of your IoT application very quickly and very easily. Everything we do now is based on open API architecture. It's all there. That AT&T M2X platform, it gives you the foundations and the basics that you'll need to connect to any machine in seconds. And then, of course, we have the analytics. Most of you probably don't know, we actually see upwards of 165 petabytes of traffic every day globally, and that's through all of our connected networks. Now, if you're wondering how much is 165 petabytes, it's a lot. We see more than 50% of the world's internet traffic on a daily basis. What that means is that with all these connected devices that we have, with all of the network infrastructure that we have, and with all of the data that we're seeing all around the world, we have the capability to provide significant data and better analytics than most people around the world. So the how. Finally, in the skill set, I didn't talk about it too much, but please come see us today. We have the AT&T foundries. The foundries are our innovation centers of excellence, and these foundries are the breeding ground for new technology. IRA was a startup company that brought their technology or their thought into the foundry, our eHealth foundry with us, and we created that smart glass, or the smart glasses concept with them, connected it, and now they're providing services to blind people around the world. We have many of these innovation centers and many of these foundries around the world, and as I mentioned, we'd be more than happy to talk to any one of you about these in more detail. So as we finish up, we know that the what was the data, but more importantly, we talked about when is now. We just gave you some examples of the how. And finally, as your organizations might be talking to you, they might be thinking, well, why would we do it? My answer or my question back to them is, why not? Give it a go. If you don't give it a go, you're going to be left behind. But if you're going to give it a go, success equals collaboration and partners. That is what IoT everything is all about. Bringing startups and corporates together and bringing that ecosystem of partners together to get a successful outcome. And finally, let's not forget why we're doing this. We are doing this for the human factor. It's all about life experiences. That's why we're connecting things around the world. In closing, I want to thank AT&T and Everything IoT for giving me the opportunity to share. Thank you.